The night an army vanished. Imagine an army of 185,000 men, undefeated, unstoppable, and on the verge of crushing their next target. The mighty Assyrian Empire, known for its brutal conquests, stood at the gates of Jerusalem. King Sennacherib had already devastated countless cities, leaving destruction in his wake. The people of Judah trembled, their fate seemingly sealed. But then, in a single fateful night, everything changed. By morning, the once mighty Assyrian army lay lifeless, struck down by an unseen force. What could have caused such a shocking event? This extraordinary incident is recorded in 2 Kings 19:35 and Isaiah 37:36, describing how the angel of the Lord descended upon the Assyrian camp and wiped out 185,000 soldiers in one night. It was a divine intervention that defied human explanation. Sennacherib, the once proud ruler who had mocked the God of Israel, was forced to retreat in disgrace. The event stands as one of the most dramatic displays of divine power and protection in the entire Bible. To understand the significance of this moment, we must look at the broader historical and biblical context. The Assyrian Empire was the superpower of its time, feared for its ruthless military campaigns. It had already conquered the northern kingdom of Israel, scattering its people and cementing its dominance. Now, it had turned its sights on Judah, with Jerusalem as its ultimate prize. Sennacherib sent messengers to intimidate King Hezekiah, boasting that no god had ever saved a nation from Assyrian hands. Hezekiah, however, did not waver. He turned to God in desperate prayer. The prophet Isaiah, a key figure during this time, assured Hezekiah that Jerusalem would not fall. He delivered a bold prophecy. Sennacherib's army would never breach the city's walls, nor would the king even shoot an arrow inside. This was a direct challenge to the unstoppable war machine of Assyria. And then, against all odds, the prophecy came true. Without a single battle, the Assyrian forces were struck down overnight, their strength reduced to nothing. Secular historians and scholars have long debated what happened that night. Some suggest a plague or natural disaster, while others see it as a myth or exaggeration. Yet, the biblical account presents a clear message. This was no ordinary event. It was a supernatural act of judgment. For the people of Judah, it was a moment of salvation, proving that their God was not like the powerless idols of other nations. He was real, he was present, and he alone determined the fate of kings and empires. The destruction of the Assyrian army marked a turning point in history, reinforcing the power of faith and divine intervention. Sennacherib, humiliated and broken, returned to Nineveh, where he would later be assassinated by his own sons. His legacy, once one of terror, became a cautionary tale of defying the Almighty. The story of God's dark angel who wiped out an entire army in one night remains one of the most awe-inspiring accounts of divine power in the Bible. The angel of the Lord. The identity of the destroying angel who struck down 185,000 Assyrian soldiers in a single night remains one of the most intriguing mysteries in biblical history. The Book of 2 Kings, 1935, and Isaiah, 37:36, both describe this event but provide little detail about the nature of this angelic being. Some scholars believe the figure referred to as the angel of the Lord is a specific, powerful messenger of God, acting as an executor of divine judgment. Others propose that this angel may be a manifestation of God himself, as seen in various Old Testament passages where the angel of the Lord speaks as if he is God. Theological debates also explore whether this angel is the same being who carried out other acts of judgment in the Bible, such as the destruction of the Egyptian firstborn during the Passover, Exodus 12:23. Some Christian interpretations even link the angel of the Lord to the pre-incarnate Christ, suggesting that this event was an act of divine intervention rather than a natural disaster or plague. Regardless of interpretation, the narrative clearly presents this angel as an agent of God's will, delivering swift and decisive judgment against the Assyrian forces. The aftermath and impact. The destruction of the Assyrian army overnight was a turning point not only in the biblical narrative, but also in the broader history of the ancient Near East. King Sennacherib, who had been leading a campaign of conquest and destruction, was forced to retreat to Nineveh in humiliation. According to historical sources, his rule never fully recovered, and he was later assassinated by his own sons. 2 Kings 1937. This event significantly weakened Assyria's dominance and preserved Jerusalem from certain destruction. For the people of Judah, this miraculous deliverance reinforced their faith in God's power and protection. The event served as a dramatic demonstration that God alone controlled the fate of nations, humbling even the mightiest empires. It validated the prophetic warnings and reassurances given by Isaiah, who had foretold Assyria's downfall if they continued to defy the God of Israel. Beyond its immediate historical impact, the story of the angel of the Lord striking down the Assyrian army became a powerful testament to divine justice throughout biblical tradition. It reminded future generations that God could intervene at any moment to protect his people and bring judgment upon those who opposed him. The event remains a subject of theological discussion, inspiring awe and reverence for the mysterious ways in which God operates in human history. Spiritual and modern-day lessons. The story of God's dark angel, who struck down 185,000 Assyrian soldiers, is a powerful testament to divine justice and protection. It serves as a reminder that no earthly power, no matter how strong, can stand against God's will. For believers today, this account reinforces the truth that God is sovereign over all nations and rulers. When we place our trust in him, we can rest assured that he is our defender in times of trouble. Faith is a central theme in this story. King Hezekiah's unwavering trust in God, despite overwhelming odds, exemplifies the kind of faith believers are called to have. In today's world, we face countless challenges, financial struggles, health crises, and spiritual battles. But just as God delivered Jerusalem, he is still capable of delivering his people from adversity. This narrative encourages us to remain steadfast in our trust, knowing that God fights for those who seek him with all their hearts. Divine justice is another crucial lesson. The destruction of the Assyrian army was not an act of senseless violence, but a demonstration of God's righteous judgment. The Assyrians had mocked God and oppressed his people, and their downfall was a warning that arrogance and defiance against the Almighty lead to ruin. In the modern world, injustice and corruption may seem to prevail at times, but this story reassures us that God sees all and will bring ultimate justice in his perfect timing. Additionally, this account highlights the power of prayer. Before the miraculous intervention, Hezekiah sought the Lord in humility and desperation. His prayer was not just a ritual, it was an earnest cry for divine help. This teaches us that prayer is not a last resort, but a vital weapon in spiritual warfare. When we come before God in faith, he hears and answers according to his will. The story also serves as a reminder that God's protection extends beyond physical deliverance. While he rescued Jerusalem from destruction, his ultimate desire is to safeguard his people spiritually. This is a call for believers to seek refuge in God, not only in times of crisis, but in every aspect of life. His promises of protection are not just historical events, they are eternal truths that apply to every generation. In conclusion, this biblical account is more than an ancient tale of war and divine intervention. It is a living testimony of God's power, justice, and faithfulness. It challenges believers to trust in him, seek him in prayer, and rest in the assurance that he is our ultimate protector. No enemy, no hardship, and no force in this world can prevail against the God who fights for his people. This incredible story reminds us of God's power and justice. He moves in ways we may not always understand, but always with a greater purpose. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep exploring the mysteries of faith, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any new content. May God bless you and see you in the next video. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments.